Hello, welcome to Quarantine Conservation. I'm Holly McCutcheon with Warwick County SWCD. Today we're talking about pollination. All week this week we're talking about our wonderful pollinators and how they're so important into our world. So I walked around today to look around in my yard on what was blooming. So what I found today was our dandelion. All of you should have this. I found a beautiful red bud. They're still blooming. They're so pretty. And then a dogwood. And then here's from my apple tree. A lot of my apple blossoms unfortunately got hit last night with the frost. I had a vinca that was blooming. Here's a wild violet that was in my yard. And our beautiful lilacs. They smell so good this time of the year. And then some aster. So these are all different examples of food that's out there right now for our pollinators. The more flowers you can incorporate in your landscape, the better it is for our pollinators. And make sure when you're choosing that you want to choose native, because the native flowers provide good food for our pollinators. All flowers provide some nectar or pollen, but you have to realize when it's something that's not native, it's more like junk food. When we're planting exotic or our non-native species plants and flowers, their food is more like junk food. The animals, our pollinators, our birds, they fill up on it, but it's not good food. Our native flowers and trees and shrubs provide good protein, good amino acids, everything that the flowers, everything that our pollinators and birds need to survive. So always try to incorporate some natives when you're doing your landscape planning, and also try to incorporate bloom time from early spring all the way to the end of the fall season. That way we can take care of our pollinators throughout the season. So what is pollination? So before we can understand pollination, we have to understand the parts of the flower. The flowers are really cool things. They have both female and male reproductive parts. Some flowers though only have female, some only have male, but some have both. If they have both, it's called complete. I'm going to show you a picture now of a flower part. So this is a flower that has been taken over, has been cut open so you could see it better. We have the female part is the ovary, and here's the style and the stigma. The stigma is the sticky part. It's right here. The male part of the flower is down here, or one of these. These are called the stamens. You have the filament, and then you have the anther. It's in the anther where the pollen is made. So when bees, birds, butterflies, moths, bugs, when all of those come in to a plant, they're coming for the nectar. They're attracted by either the bright petals or the good smells. That's how nature attracts the pollinators to come to them. So when you see really bright colored flowers or good smell flowers, it's because they're trying to attract the pollinators. So when the bees come, a lot of times they'll put the pollen down deep into the flower. The nectar, so they have to work their way down. And as they move around here, they'll pick up the pollen on the stamens from the anthers, and then as they travel then from flower to flower, when they get on top of the stigma here, it's sticky, and then the pollen then will be transferred over into the stigma. Then that pollen then goes all the way down to the ovary, and that's what fertilizes the flower. This ovary will end up becoming, let's say if this was an apple tree, it would end up becoming our apple. That is where the ovary becomes. It gets larger, the petals fall off, and then it expands, and that becomes our apple. So what I have today, I have some flowers that I cut open just so you could see it. So kids, you need to have a box blade or scissors, a magnifying glass, and then of course flowers that you need to have. This is what you need to have to be able to do this. Have mom or dad there to help you because this is dangerous. You want to cut it open, the flower. Be careful, and as you cut it, scissors might be better on some of these. Just cut down to it, and then you want to cut off a portion of the petals so you can see better down to the sepals. And there you go. Now you can see a little bit better on those. So if you look here, if you can notice here on this one, we have all of the parts there of the flower. I've opened it up a little bit better here, so maybe you can see it on this way. So these are the parts, and then you can just see all these different ones along the way, and how the ovaries at the bottom and the stigmas then at the top in order to have those there. And then the pollen is right here on the anther. I don't know if you can see it very well. So when you see some in the wind blowing, this is what's giving everybody all the allergy problems. It's all the pollen in the air, and the flowers are the ones that are pollinating it. So what I'd like for you to do today, kids, is for your science experiment is go out, find some flowers, dissect them, and post pictures of the flowers you found and some comments on what you found that was pretty cool about them. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you later. Bye.